best you took the monologue.
Hello there, welcome to the Writing Well. This is the formal welcome, the formal introduction to this course, to this journey, and I welcome all of you. I welcome all of your nature to this journey. We are about to take a deep dive into many creative practices, into many tools and quests that may serve you in your journey as a writer. So you've joined this course because you want to write, I'm assuming. Now you may want to write because you want to publish books and have them translated into many languages and be loved for the next thousands of years. Or you may be doing this course because you just want to write one thing. You just want to tell your story and be able to share it with your friends and family and children and their children. Or you may be doing this because you just want to discover what is there for you and you don't actually know what you want it to lead to. All of the above and whatever else I may not have covered is welcome. This course has been created because there's a bit of a stereotype of what the writer is. And if you close your eyes and picture a writer, you might get a few different images come to mind. There is that idea that a writer is an unhealthy person, maybe an alcoholic, maybe smokes a lot, maybe their life is falling apart, maybe they experience various kinds of emotional turmoil in their lives. These are some of the stereotypes. And the Writing Well is a real invitation that our life as a writer is, yes, typing words or writing words, and also so many other things that are going to feed into what we then write. By other things, I mean dreaming, meditating, being in nature, walking, exploring other art forms, and using our hands, using our bodies, moving our bodies, making sounds, singing, drumming, these things that are actually going to serve us in terms of what we write, how we write, who we are, and the kinds of stories that we then share in the world. So, do you want to be an embodied writer? Do you want to be an embodied human being? Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to create works of art, poems, songs, stories, plays, novels, memoirs that are loved by many and gifts to many? There's an idea that was shared to me by a beautiful teacher of mine, Martin Shaw, and he was saying, stirring your pen in the wound and calling it art is just not enough anymore. And so pain has often been seen as the engine of story, and it can be, but I'm putting it out there through this course that there are other engines of story. So we're going to explore what they might be for you at the same time as being willing to go into the darkest spaces. So if you think about this like the hero's journey, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the hero's journey archetype. There's an idea that the characters that we write are going to go into the depths. They're going to go and they're going to be tested and they're going to have their lives shift in the end in a really positive way and be able to bring a gift back to their community. And so this idea in the Writing Well is that we actually take ourselves through those journeys as writers. So in this way, writing itself, the act of writing, is a rite of passage. It's a deep dive journey, and there's a willingness in ourselves to be changed by what we write. So if you were to be beginning a piece with this feeling of being, let's say, really let down by somebody, really fucked over by somebody, and you want to write a piece to show the world what you went through. What we want to be curious about in the Writing Well is many, many other perspectives. So you actually come to the piece with a question rather than an agenda. You come to your writing piece with a question. And the question might be, who is this person that treated me in this way? Who are they? And so we're opening ourselves to empathy for all of the characters that we're writing, whether it's in fiction or in memoir, opening ourselves to a very deep empathy at the same time as inviting a really deep and true catharsis for ourselves as writers and as people. So I'm going to share with you a little quote because I feel like it gets us in a good flow. This is a quote by Moira Caldecott. She says, "It is perhaps because our modern myths lack wisdom, and we settle for stories without true mythic content, stories that have no profundity, no seed from the great forest to plant in our own plots of ground, that our lives are so often shallow and empty, and many of us have lost our way. It's perhaps because our modern myths lack wisdom, and we settle for stories without true mythic content, stories that have no profundity, no seed from the great forest to plant in our own plots of ground, that our lives are so often shallow and empty, and many of us have lost our way." So the Writing Well invites us as writers out of the studio, out of the ivory tower, and into the world, into nature, into water, into dreams, into conversations. It invites us into a fuller experience of ourselves, of being human, of culture, and really we're asking ourselves, where is that seed from the great forest that can actually fuel our stories and therefore be able to create works of art, pieces of writing that are good for us as writers and also good for the world. So that is the invitation, and this is a really big, beautiful welcome to you. Across this journey, it's going to be important to have a private journal space, a journal that you also don't always read back over. Sometimes you're going to be in the mystery of it yourself. So a journal, a willingness to have a cold shower every now and again, maybe to swim in some cold river water or a cold ocean, and to listen to your dreams. So just, if you can feel for yourself right now, how do you want to prepare for this journey as well? You are ultimately the one who knows more what you need. So asking yourself, what do you feel like you need to begin this journey? You obviously want to write, and this is a beautiful thing. I personally believe that all people in the world can truly benefit from telling stories, from sharing stories, from writing stories, and that it's actually just part of being human. And so just asking yourself, what do you feel like you need for this journey? What do you need? Many, many people want to write and don't write. And so I'm also really curious about that. Perhaps it's because there's an awareness that it goes deep. It does. It goes deep. You have to feel things that maybe you've been avoiding feeling. And writing is just such an intimate act. So inviting yourself to that intimacy, feeling the excitement of, okay, this is actually a journey for me. Not just a journey for my characters or a journey for the craft, but a journey for me as a being. And the saddest thing is when people write themselves into darkness and don't necessarily know how to get out of it. And so what we're doing here is we're going to go in prepared. We're going to go in prepared. And when I say darkness, I don't mean we're going to write horror movies. That's not what I mean. I mean intensity. I mean the things that we've been avoiding. And that is the writing well. So we're going to go to the places that we may have been avoiding for a long time, but we're going to go in ready. So across the first few weeks, it's going to be a journey of coming into our bodies, of rechilding, of exploring imagination, ritual, self-care, and then we're going to go into spaces of asking ourselves the questions that we often don't want to ask, and leaning into characters that we don't even want to relate with. But also, this is a big part of why I've created this course, The Writing Well, is because the writer has an amazing task, which is being able to understand and embody and relate with all of the characters that they write. So I noticed this when I was at art school, was that the actors, they were playing one character on stage and having to really enter into that one character. that's an amazing embodied experience, and credit to them. It's truly incredible. But the writer actually had to write all of those characters, all of them. So that's a real task. That means being able to see from the many different points of view in real time as the characters are going through conflict. That means being able to see where the seeds of trauma for one character are and where the balm is that another character is offering them. So it's complex stuff, and I just really want to celebrate all the writers that have been writing across the thousands and thousands of years, and storytellers and myth tellers, in times before writing existed. They are brave people, and you are a brave person for wanting to be here, for knowing that yes, this is a calling, there is a part of me that knows I need to write, and willingness to go into the mystery of that, the mystery of fiction, the mystery of imagination, the complexity of raising things up that you don't necessarily even know how to understand yet, but trusting that across the journey you will come to deeper understanding, deeper empathy, deeper connection, and spirited, healthy narrative. So yes, many blessings and a great big welcome to the Writing Well. Thank you for being here.
The stories you spin, subtle as sin, but they'll never be as strong as a mother's milk.